Greetings and welcome to another edition of my Mass Effect 3 multiplayer guides. Today we're going to have a look at the newly released Geth Trooper, the Geth Soldier. And basically, as many people have intuitively realized, there are two builds to this guy. You can either go for a mobile weapons platform, a sort of agile, fast version of the Destroyer, or you can go for a flamer build. Now, I like the mobile weapons platform, but I'm not going to be talking about that in this video. I might do it in a separate video, on a separate occasion. No, now I'll just be talking about the flamer build, and how to optimize the flamer build. Okay. So before I proceed, let me just thank Superjet007. She's a great teammate, and she's a great player, so thanks for participating. I appreciate your help. The build is pretty simple, as always. It is flamer, maxed out. For range, go for the range. I've tested both extensively. I barely notice any difference in damage output, and the fact that you have 5 extra meters to me is a big deal. So go for range, then definitely go for damage, and then go for barrier and shield damage versus as opposed to armor. Why do I say that? Because the flamer already does a lot of damage to armor, and it's a bit repetitious. Now, if you want a versatile flamer, Geth Trooper, you're going to want a flamer that affects barriers and shields quite well. And this way, you have the best of both worlds, in my opinion. I don't really have issues with armor. It still melts armor pretty quickly. And, you know, Geth Troopers or Geth in general, Collector Troopers, Collector Captains, most of Cerberus, they all fall under the purview of barrier shield, so it's quite useful. Fortification, I max out. I want basically maximum damage resistance coupled by power synergy, so I go for damage resistance 5, evolution 4, then 5, power synergy, and then finally 10% damage resistance. Now remember, on this build, you're primarily, almost exclusively, concentrated on killing things with your flamer, so your weapon damage is not that important, which is why I'll get to in a second. I skipped the level, the 6th in the passive. For Hunter mode, I max out power recharge, power damage, which kind of seems like a given, and 10% damage. I generally almost never take the speed vision enhancement for the simple reason that 9 meters to me is not a huge deal. If it were 15 or 20 maybe, and I would take it, but ever since the Geth nerf, which I think was unjustly applied to other Geth apart from the Geth Infiltrator, I've just gone routinely for the damage, so damage. Passive, I just go for power damage, capacity, and then more power damage. I skip level 6, and then 3 points or 3 slots in fitness. That's the build. And there's not a whole lot to tell. It's a pretty straightforward guy. You just flame things and you kill them. You roast them. One thing I want to encourage people to use is something I found quite useful, is a stagger weapon. You see in the video I'm making use of the Falcon. And I'm using the Falcon because, well, the Falcon staggers quite well. And that stagger effect is very useful in between flaming gouts, as it were. So if you spray forth your flamer gout, and then if you have a Dragoon or a Phantom attacking you or approaching you, you might want to stagger him, stun him, and that'll allow you to do to project another gout of flame. I find that quite useful. It's how I like to play it. The only issue occasionally are Guardians, but, you know, of course, Atlases fall pretty quickly to the flamer, so it's very good. So I definitely would encourage you to use probably a Falcon. If you find other stuff, I guess the Geth plasma shotgun could be good too, but doesn't have the AoE effect, and I don't find this as reliable as the Falcon. But yeah, anything that works like that. As far as mods are concerned, it depends. You know, in the video I was a duo, so I was taking Survivor Loadout. Normally I would take the Omni capacitors that gives you the 12% damage bonus as well as the recharge. Speed. I did take a power amplifier 4, and for the weapon, well, I just took a normal assault rifle amp, and I took incendiary. I thought that would kind of mix well with that. Anyway, it's pretty straightforward. Like I said, just burn everything. There's not a lot of strategy involved, although do make use of soft cover. You know, you do have to be exposed, and there are a lot of sort of nooks and crannies and under soft cover. What I mean, like sort of around the corner, flaming things. And don't be surprised if there's another flamer video coming up. In fact, I did record a basically a sort of a 2 Geth engineer, 2 flamer build with a lot of tech explosions. I was on platinum, and that'll be forthcoming as well. Anyway, I hope you found the guide helpful. And depending on your time zone, I wish you a pleasant evening, pleasant afternoon, or pleasant morning. Look forward to your comments and views. Everyone have a nice one and take care. All the best. Bye.
wonder